Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mid-Florida Lakes. We appreciate you all coming out. On behalf of the candidates, again, welcome. We have an incredible group of Democratic candidates here today who are stepping up and putting their names on the line because they believe in something bigger than themselves. They believe in you. Before we get started, we do have a couple of things to do. First, we are going to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and that will be led by our candidates. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God save America!
Okay, now that everyone has sat down, would you please stand up again? We are going to have the honor of having one of Mid-Florida Lake's very own perform the national anthem. Mr. Rick Moore, ladies and gentlemen.
The dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you very much, Rick, for that beautiful performance. Can we give him one more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? All right, folks, before we meet the candidates, we do have one person that I would like to take time out to give a moment to speak. I would like to welcome to the mic Lake County Democratic Party Chair Trevor Roberts.
Hello there, fellow patriots. Can you hear me behind this mic? Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day to pay attention to the people running for office so that the information you take away is not just for yourself, but for your friends and neighbors. Because right now, folks, we're in a fight for the heart of this country, for the values that we possess, and for how we want our country to be in the future. These candidates have a vision moving forward, and I can tell you that the Lake County Democratic Party will be proud to help get out the voters to support these candidates, flip the supermajority in the state of Florida, elect a new senator, and elect a new governor, and new Congress people, new state people, and municipal offices around the county. I'll tell you, we've been on a stealth mission for the last several years since I've been chair. We are electing, there's 14 municipalities in the Lake County area. I currently occupy the seat of Mayor Pro Tem of Lady Lake. I'm running for re-election myself. None of y'all can vote for me except maybe my other half over there. But I want to thank you because this is a very important moment in time, and it's by your vote, your attention, that we can make this country a better place. And with that said, and the 75,000 Democrats that I represent in Lake County, please join me in welcoming all of the great candidates that are here today.
Thank you so much, Trevor. We're happy to have you here with us today. All right, so before we get started, I want to hear from you. Are you ready to meet the candidates who are fighting for the people of Lake County and the state of Florida? Yeah. All right, that's what I want to hear. All right. Friends and neighbors, fellow Floridians, it's time to sit back and listen to the candidates that wish to earn your vote and support. With the primary election just 10 days away, some of you may know who you plan to vote for. Some of you may have already voted by mail or by early voting. We hope that after today, if you have not yet taken the opportunity to vote early, that you will have an informed opinion and be able to cast your vote, perhaps for someone that you hear here today. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our first candidate. His name is Jose Elias-Torres, and he is running for Lake County Commissioner Seat 2. Jose is a husband, son, caregiver, and proud homeowner in Mineola. His connection to Lake County began during his mother's lung transplant journey. After years of working hard and saving, Jose and his husband made Lake County their home and the place that they would build their future. With more than 12 years' experience in healthcare, pharmacy, telecommunications, and consulting, Jose is a proven business and operations leader. He has built systems, improved failing processes, managed teams and budgets, and created accountability that gets results. Jose's commitment to service is personal, supporting his mother through her lung transplant and his husband through his kidney transplant, has taught him that leadership means showing up, asking tough questions, and making sure no one gets left behind when systems fail. Jose is running to bring a prepared, accountable, and people-first voice to the County Commission. Jose prioritizes growth, better infrastructure and county services, fiscal responsibility, and protecting the natural beauty, small businesses, rural communities, and character that make Lake County home. Please welcome Mr. Jose Elias-Torres.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank the organizers for bringing us all here together, and thank every single one of you for being here, taking the time to listen, learn, and be part of the process. Because showing up matters, and not just showing up, but making informed decisions about who we trust to represent our communities. We deserve leaders at every level, city, county, and beyond, who do more than say they care. We deserve leaders who show it through their actions, their preparation, and the decisions they make when it counts. My name is Jose Elias-Torres, and I am running as a write-in candidate for Lake County Commissioner District 2. Now, I know that is a long name. I've been Jose Elias since birth. I finally figured how to spell that out in kindergarten, and when I got married, I had to learn it all over again when I added the Torres. I'm a husband, I'm a son, a caregiver, a homeowner in Mineola, and I will admit publicly, a very proud mama's boy. Family is everything to me. I was born with a serious liver condition and spent my first 40 days of life in the NICU. My mom had just given birth, but she refused to leave my side. My dad worked extra jobs so she could be there with me. That is how I was raised. When someone you love needs you, you show up. Years later, when my mom was diagnosed with end-stage pulmonary disease, I learned what it means to fight for someone you love. A major hospital in Miami told us no, but my family did not stop. We kept searching. We drove to Gainesville again and again for evaluations at UF Health Shands in 2020. In 2020, my mom received a lung transplant. During her recovery, I was the only person allowed in the ICU with her. I worked from her bedside because that is the only way I know how to show up, all in for the people who need me. Today, my parents live with my husband Timothy and me in Mineola. Timothy is a teacher, a 2-time kidney transplant recipient, going on to our 3rd, and is truly my rock. And we have Frenchies, 6 of them actually, who have made it very clear that they, not us, run the household. Yeah, very true. Yes. You want one? These experiences have shaped who I am. They are why healthcare access, support for seniors and caregivers, strong first responders, and county services that work for families are not abstract issues to me. They are personal. But I'm also running because I bring professional experience that matters for this job. For more than 12 years, I have worked in healthcare, pharmacy, telecommunications, operations, and consulting, a little bit of everything. I have spent my career walking into situations where something was broken or where nothing existed yet, and helping build systems that actually work for people. I have managed teams, I have managed budgets, I've built processes from the ground up, and I have created accountability tools so performance cannot be hidden or ignored. So when I look at Lake County, I do not just see its challenges. I see an opportunity to do better. I see a county that is growing and needs a commissioner who is prepared to ask the hard questions. Are the roads ready? Is public safety keeping pace? Are county services easy to use and accountable to the people? Are we being responsible with taxpayer dollars? And are we protecting the lakes, green space, small businesses, rural character, and community roots that made people fall in love with Lake County in the first place? Let me be very clear. I am not against growth. My husband and I bought our first home here in Mineola. I'm part of the growth. I'm simply saying that growth has to be responsible. Growth without infrastructure is chaos. Development without character is just construction. We can grow Lake County while still protecting the people and places that give it its soul. We can also expect government to work better. County services should be transparent, responsive, and easier to navigate. Your tax dollars should work as hard as you do. As a one voice on a 5-member board, I will come prepared, I will listen closely, I will ask hard questions, and I will advocate for decisions that put people first. I am running because Lake County is at a turning point. We are growing. The question is not whether our county will change, the question is whether we will lead that growth with a real plan or keep asking families to deal with the consequences afterwards. Too many residents feel like they are consistently catching up to traffic, catching up to development, catching up to decisions that should have included them from the beginning. I'm not running because Lake County cannot be better. I'm running because I know it can, and I am prepared to do the work, ask the hard questions, and fight for the kind of county our families deserve. So, please remember my name, Jose Elias-Torres. When you vote for the Lake County Commissioner District 2 race, fill the bubble, write Jose Elias-Torres. I will work every day to earn the honor of serving you, your family, and the Lake County we all love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jose. Okay, please remember everyone in Lake County can cast a vote for Jose. You do not have to live out in Mineola where he lives. Thank you. And when you are writing his name on the ballot, it is Joseeliastorres. One L, I apologize, typo. Okay, our next candidate is also running for Lake County Commissioner for District 4. Egor Emery is his name, and he will appear on the ballot. Egor is running because he believes Lake County deserves leadership that listens to its residents, puts people first, and works to build a stronger future for the community. He understands that the issues facing Lake County affect all of us, from rising costs and responsible growth to infrastructure, public services, and protecting the environment. Egor is ready to bring energy, accountability, and people-first approach to the Commissioner's office. Please welcome Mr. Egor Emery.
Thank you so much, DJ. Really appreciate that. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I don't want to shout too hard, but I'm really excited to be here today because all things are possible. DJ got all that information off my website. I hope you'll check it out and find out some of the reasons that I'm running. I'm excited because I believe that all things are possible and that you guys are working for a better world, as I am. I wanted representation, and that's what our system's about, right? 250 years we're celebrating this country. The whole idea is that someone from among us, willing to do homework, to put in some time, will represent us before the various levels of government. I'm running for county commission, and people say, well, what does county commission do? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But the reason I'm running is because I desperately need that representation. I haven't had it for years, and most of you haven't either. If you've been to a county commission race, you can see who's getting represented. It's the people who are in that room on a regular basis who make money from the decisions the county commission makes. Those people are there all the time, and they're being very effectively represented. If you go on the website for the Board of County Commissioners and watch the most recent meeting, the first 17 minutes of that meeting will tell you everything you need to know. It's really worth your time, so please take the time to watch to see what they're doing. So I've been to Mid-Florida Lakes many times over my life. I worked for 16 years at a bicycle shop in Tavares called Sun Cycle, and it seemed like I used to be out every week working on bicycles here in Mid-Florida. But I want to tell you a little story about what the County Commission does. Years ago, they approved this wonderful place called Mid-Florida Lakes. It was among many mobile home communities in Lake County. And it was a great growing idea, right? Mobile homes are affordable, retirees can live here, it's a wonderful lifestyle. So they approved this place, and then a few years later, a large landowner came before them. Developers is how I usually refer to them. A developer came forward and said, I want to put a concrete plant on beautiful land right across from Mid-Florida Lakes. And you know what the county commissioners did? They approved it. A concrete plant with dust and noise and pollution right across the street from here. That seems like a crazy idea to me. It's not compatible with what this place represents. Well, that's the kind of stuff the county commission does when they don't think about your needs. I think it would have been appropriate to put some more housing over there, maybe a park, but something other than a concrete plant. And I know the folks that live here really enjoy every day getting to live across the street from that thing. So that's the kind of thing that I would say no to. And what we need is a commissioner who will say no to these things, and we don't currently have that. If you think about the most precious thing that you have after your life, it's your vote. Your vote is so incredibly powerful. Right now, there are a lot of people spending money trying to convince you what to do with their vote. And the reason they're doing that is because without your vote, they can't do anything. If we join together, join our votes to make a better future, there's nothing we can't do. There's nothing we can't do with our vote. But if we don't exercise the time to learn why we should vote for these candidates, then we're wasting our vote. And it's something that I'm concerned about all the time. How do I best move us forward? And I'm asking you to vote for Egor Emery for County Commission. Sometimes use my initial, I've gotten used to that over the years. Anyway, Egor Emery for County Commission, because you need the kind of representation that I need. We all need to work together to make a better future for Lake County. And I am the person that can do that. I've been involved in issues for so many years in Lake County. My wife is a pharmacist in Lake County. We've been involved in all sorts of issues for the entire time we've been here. I'm born in DeLand, but this is my home. And I believe that the way we have grown in Lake County is not sustainable. We have to make changes. And so I'm asking you to make a change. Change your county commissioner. I will be facing the winner of the race. Currently, your commissioner is Leslie Campione. And if you think she's done a great job, then you vote for her. If you feel that she hasn't done a great job, then please vote for Egor Emery. And that is all I can ask you to do, is check out what I stand for, what I've done over the last 20-something years I've been involved in issues in Lake County, and if you have some questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Thank you for your time and your attention, and thank you, DJ, for the great work on that. For Robyn and Dan for putting this together, thank you so much.
Okay, are you ready to meet your next candidate? Our next candidate is a woman that is ready to stand up and fight for the people right here in District 26. Robyn is not a career politician. Give me 1 second. My damn alarm is now going off because you didn't turn it off. Sorry. She is a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and an advocate for the community, a volunteer, neighbor, and friend. Robyn's commitment to service isn't just something she talks about, it's something she has demonstrated through service. Through her volunteer work with the Lake County Sheriff's Department as a Citizens on Patrol officer, having volunteered countless hours assisting with community events, traffic control at accident scenes, performing wellness checks for the disabled and elderly, and helping to keep our community safe. Her commitment has been recognized by the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, earning bronze in 2024 and gold in 2025 for her outstanding service in the community. Robyn believes there is more work to be done. She is running because working families, seniors, and the LGBTQ community are under attack and need a strong voice to stand up for them in Tallahassee. A voice to address affordable health care, rising costs, and equality, to name a few. Robyn believes that people come before politics. She believes together we can build a Florida where families can afford to live and not just survive, and seniors can afford to stay in their homes that they work so hard for and not be forced out by the rising cost of living. Robyn is not running for a title. She's running to be your voice, your advocate, and your next state representative. She has already qualified as the Democratic the Democratic nominee, and therefore will not be on the ballot seeking your vote on the 18th of August. She will, however, be your candidate on November 3rd. Ladies and gentlemen, your District 26 Florida House of Representatives Democratic nominee, Mrs. Robyn Elaine Lawrence.
Thank you.
See, I can't see them. We the people means everyone. It's not about black, it's not about white, it's not about gay, and it's not about straight. It's not about Christian or Catholic. It's not about transgender or non-binary. It's about people. It's about you, every one of you. It's about we the people. Let me ask you something. When our Constitution began with the words, we the people, who do you think they were talking about? Every one of us, right? So repeat after me. We the people. I can't hear you. We the people. Absolutely. One more time so Tallahassee can hear you. We the people. Absolutely. It's not about Marsha. It's not about Donnie. It's not about Julia. It's not about Becky. It's about every family, every individual in this room. It's about the residents of District 26. It's about every Floridian. It's about every American. Because we the people means everyone. My name is Robyn Elaine Lawrence, and I am running for the Florida House of Representatives, District 26. Now I'm going to come down there. Because I don't like to sit around, but I want to show you some photos, maybe, if I can get this clicker to work. There we go. I want to be the voice that fights for you in Tallahassee. I want to be the one that you send to Tallahassee. By the way, those are my boxing gloves. I used to kickbox. I was a Citizens on Patrol officer with the Lake County Sheriffs. One of my really amazing accomplishments. I loved doing that, but I had to leave that to run for office because I didn't have time to do both. I believe in the future of Florida. I believe that we can have a Florida where every American, every Floridian, no matter your color, your race, no matter who you love, no matter who you are, no matter what disability you might have, can be free and can be treated with equal rights. And right now we don't have that. I received a proclamation from the city of Leesburg, from the mayor, Mayor Barry, for the Transgender Day of Visibility. Those of you who do not know, yes, I am transgender. I am Lake County's very first transgender candidate. But let me be clear. It's not about me being first. It's about everyone in this room, everyone in District 26, and everyone I talk to not being last. And yes, you can applaud that. I have got endorsements from Angie Nixon, Rainbow Democrats, which are right back here, the Greater Leesburg, and I just got endorsed by Florida for Bernie, being Bernie Sanders, yes, and Lake for Bernie. So I'm very happy about those endorsements. Also the Environmental Caucus, because they do a lot of great work, and we need to protect our environment, as Egor said. So now let's talk about healthcare. Healthcare in Florida right now is a privilege. Healthcare is a privilege. Healthcare should be a right. Every one of you, Jerry, Paula, Marcia, Paul, Becky, Royal, every one of you have the right to affordable healthcare. I said affordable healthcare. Florida leaves so much money on the table every year, over $5 billion, that we could use to expand Medicaid and Medicare. This is ridiculous. And what does our governor do? He sends it out to other states with like-minded governors. And yes, I'm talking about Republicans. We need to change the way that Floridians think. We need to change the way that Floridians vote. Floridians need to start voting. Floridians need to step up. Democrats, you need to step up. You need to tell your friends, tell your family. When I go to somebody's house and I have to sit at a table and talk to them, and I have to watch them cut their high blood pressure medicine in half because they don't have enough to last for the rest of the month, and they can't get their prescription refilled, that's a problem. When I have to watch someone decide if they're going to buy their medication or they're going to buy food, that's a problem. When I have to watch someone decide if they're going to keep the lights on or buy medication, that's a problem, folks. We have a problem in Florida right now, and that problem is in Tallahassee. And we need to fix that. And the way to fix that is to send more Democrats to Tallahassee and flip Tallahassee. Now, like DJ said, I'm not a career politician. I ride a motorcycle, I ride a Harley Davidson. I have tattoos. I'm not your typical politician. But I'm a human being. And I'm a human being that cares about District 26. I'm a human being that wants to protect the environment. We don't need data centers. Data centers takes away from our water source, it pollutes, it takes away from our energy source. Think about this. Remember back in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, we had the desktop computers, they had cooling fans, right? But they still put off a lot of heat. What do you think a data center is going to do? It's a big building with computers. It's going to do the same thing, and it takes energy away from you, energy that you could be powering your house with. It's going to pollute the water, because it takes a lot of water too. Right. So we don't need data centers. So that's something we got to fix too, right? We don't need masked vigilantes. I said masked vigilantes called ICE running around and taking citizens off of the street and killing people. Killing people, let's face it. We don't need that. We need this fixed. We need this fixed now. And we need a representative that is not afraid to show up. My opponent in November is Nan Cobb. Did anybody know that's your representative? How many people know? Less than 10. I have a stand-up of her right over here. I've named her No Show Nan. She doesn't show up. She has a name tag on. She is No Show Nan. She voted against women's rights. She voted against LGBTQ rights. She voted against expanding health care. She voted to allow places like Mid-Florida Lakes to charge whatever they want for property rent when we own the home, but we don't own the land. She is a Ron DeSantis rubber stamper. And she does not care about District 26. She works 3 months out of the year, that is it. I don't believe a representative should work 3 months out of the year. I think a representative that represents you should be here all the time. She moves quick too. Told you, she doesn't show up. No, I think that the job of a representative is 12 months. Not 3 months. So I will be here no matter what. On the back of my cards, everybody got a card on their seat. In the back of my cards are a couple things. One is my email address, my website, my phone number. Yes, I put my phone number on my cards. That's my phone number now. It'll be my phone number in 6 months. It'll be my phone number in a year. It'll be my phone number in 18 months. It'll be my phone number in 2 years. And I tell you that because that is my phone number, and I am here for you. You can call me anytime. Now, if you call me in the middle of the night, you're going to get voicemail because I'm asleep or having coffee. Another thing that's on there is a couple QR codes. One is for my Facebook. The other is Act Blue. Act Blue is where you can make a donation. You can scan that with your phone. And if you believe in what I'm saying, I don't take money, and none of these candidates, I guarantee you, take money from corporates. We don't want to be in their pockets. We are all running grassroots campaigns. Grassroots campaigns are funded by the people. And that's who we want to answer to, is the people. The people of District 26, the people of Congressional 6, the people of Congressional 11, the people of Lake County. So we don't take money from them. So what we need you to do is scan these QR codes. Make a donation. If you can make $5, if you can make $100, $200, I don't care. Whatever donation you make helps put the voice out there. It helps us buy yard signs, helps us get t-shirts, it helps us get literature so that we can get out there and do what we need to do to turn Lake County blue. Yes, I said turn Lake County blue. Not purple, but blue. So I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart to scan that QR code, make a donation. And I guarantee you, I will be here for you. I will be here to take care of you. I will be here to be your representative. And on November 3rd, when you go to the polls, most of you vote right here if you live in Mid-Florida Lakes. make sure you vote for Robyn Elaine Lawrence. And I used all 3 names so that you'd remember it. I am the only Democrat running, and I am very proud to have the Democratic nomination. And I want to thank everyone, and I want to say, God bless you, and God bless America, and I love every one of you. And I want to put a special thank you out to Treva for coming. I want to put a special thank you out to all of the clubs and caucuses that have shown up, the candidates. Let's give them all a big round of applause, please, please. Come on, we can do more than that. Let's go. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I ask you one thing. What does we the people mean? Let's hear it. Let's make them hear it in the other end. We the people. We the people. Everybody stand up. We're gonna have a stand-up party. Come on. We the people. We the people. Absolutely. And we are not backing down, right? All right. DJ, here you go.
Thank you, Robyn, my long-winded wife. Okay, our next candidate is seeking the Democratic nomination on August 18th for the U.S. House of Representatives in District 6, which includes a large section of Lake County. Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera is a man that has dedicated his life to serving others. Born and raised in New York City, Ronnie grew up volunteering in his community church. Later, he served on the school board in the district where his children attended. Ronnie is a father of 5 children that he and his wife, childhood sweetheart, Julia, are raising together right here in Lake County. Ronnie is a former EMT and law enforcement officer. Ronnie's dedication to serving the people speaks for itself with his chosen career path. He is running for Congress because he believes District 6 deserves a representative that will stand up and fight for affordability, accessible health care, safe communities, quality education, economic opportunity, equality for all citizens, and to fight back against the hatred across our county at the hands of current Representative Randy Fine. Ronnie brings experience and commitment to service to the table and is ready to take it to Washington, D.C., along with his enthusiasm and passion to serve the people. Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. House of Representatives District 6 candidate, Mr. Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera.
Hold on, because I'm going to get my good picture up here, because I look nice in my picture. Come on. We can wait. If you guys don't understand, this is why we have Dan. Love you, Dan. Well, while Dan is doing this, we're going to start. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh, come on, Democrats. Let's do it again. Ready? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I appreciate it. We got to get hyped because today started early voting. Not in Lake County, because we started. Good afternoon. All right. Yes. Today, so early voting here started on the 6th. So we already should be hyped, but we have a good, strong chance to take back our country this November. And we need every single person. We need every single person to be locked in to tell their family, their friends to get involved in our democracy and get it changed, right? Because I want to thank all of you guys for coming, but look around this room. Just look. This is what democracy looked like, right? Because for far too long, people in this country thought we gave up. And I'm here to tell you that the establishment and the Republican Party, Donald Trump, Randy Fine, all of them, boo, right? All of them have been voting and doing things that's against this very democracy that we stand for. And they really thought people have given up. But we're here to say, no, we haven't. You guys are in this room today, And that shows us that democracy is stronger than ever. Because throughout this entire campaign, that's what I've seen, right? I've seen people standing up. I've seen people getting involved. I've seen people protesting. People who have never been in politics before, they're stand up and say, you know what? Enough is enough. Like, how far can we allow that this administration to further trample our democracy? We can't stand by anymore and allow the party that promised us so much things continue to lie to us. And so what I'm standing here to tell you guys is that we're going to take our country back. We're going to take our country back. And I'm going to tell you this, it's not for one political party, Republican or Democrat, not for any politician, right? Not definitely for the wealthy and the powerful, because those are the people we're trying to get out of Congress, but for the people, right? The people that this country was built for. And you know what tells me that it's working? They're scared. They're petrified. Like, look what's going on around us. People are coming together. They're organizing. They're getting out. They're voting. They're protesting. And when people in power start panicking, come on, y'all, don't make me start churching up in here. But when people in power start fumbling, panicking, they fumble, they stumble, and they start trying everything they can to regain that power to keep them in power, right? And so when that doesn't work, guess what things start happening? Wars, right? To distract us from what's happening around us, right? They start gerrymandering our area, right? But if you guys believe in history, it has shown us time and time again that when ordinary people organize, when we vote, when we speak up, and we refuse to surrender to people in power that only cares about power and money, when we reunite and we re-engage, we're showing them that we never back down, and that's why they get scared. They distract our attention away from everything that's going around and start talking about things like a ballroom. Or people getting arrested for sticking their fingers in a pool, right? So these are things that are made to distract us around the real problem, is that we are taking back our democracy from them, and they're trying to underline the very power that we were giving. I'm speaking loud enough? Okay, good, because I need to hear some heads shaking and agreeing with me, because I got to make sure I'm saying the right message up in here, right? I don't want to preach, but I got to preach. But anyway, for those who don't know me, and a lot of you know me because I've been getting around for the last couple of years, but my name is Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera. I'm running for U.S. Congress right here in Florida 6th Congressional District. But before I tell you what I'm running for, I want to tell you why I'm running. I wasn't born into politics, and I know you guys hear that a lot, but I truly wasn't born into politics. I was born to serve people. She already gave you guys a little synopsis about my life. But I was born and raised in one of the biggest, strongest democratic cities that we have in America, in New York City. Yes. And what people don't realize, the reason why I talk about New York, because it taught me something very early, right? It taught me how to survive. It taught me that we need to stay united through all. It taught me that people from every race, religion, sex, orientation, backgrounds, income levels, we all come together. We all work together. We may disagree with each other, but at the end, we still understand that we're all a part of the same community. No matter what our party lines is, no matter what our races is, no matter who you choose to love, we come together at the end of the day and do what's right for the people. And that's what this city has taught me. I didn't grow up with money. I grew up in a low-income housing. I'm a proud product of public school. A proud product. I didn't grow up with any politicians in my family. Nobody handed me a roadmap to how to run for Congress, although sometimes I wish they did, because if you guys think about running for Congress, trust me, it's not as easy as people or you may think it is. We may make it look easy, but it's very not easy. But anyway, I think that I know what struggling looks like because I've struggled. People who actually understand what people are representing is the people I believe that we need to know in Washington. I'm tired of people who have never struggled a day in their life making decisions for family, who's working every day in their life and actually struggling right now. I'm tired of people who never had to worry about paying a medical bill, deciding what to eat, get to decide what healthcare benefits that we need in our countries and in our community. I'm tired of people who never wondered how they're going to make it until payday, telling us, right, how to divide our paycheck and that you should do better where you work at. I think that's wrong. Sometimes the best way to understand what somebody is going through is to have gone through it yourself. And I understand that struggle because I'm a product of it, and I would never forget where I came from. Today, I'm a proud husband. Me and my wife, like she said, we've been together since we were in junior high school. I'm a father of 5 children. Well, I'm a father of 6 children. Me and my wife opened our house in New York City as foster parents, and 11 years ago we did so. We adopted this girl. She's now 26. I don't remember ages. But she made me an early grandparent. And so now I'm a 35-year-old granddad. Yes, 35 years old. So when I talk about family, family isn't a political talking point for me. It's actually the reason why I'm running. It's my life. When I talk about parents worrying about their children, I feel it because I'm living it. When I talk about families sitting around the kitchen table trying to figure out bills, I'm a part of that. And when I talk about wanting something better for the next generation, I'm talking about my children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews. These are the people that we are talking about because, to be honest, I'm 35 years old. Most of my childhood is in the past. I'm almost, by the grace of God, we live every day. But I'm really fighting for the generation that comes behind us. And that's why I'm running. Because I look at them and ask myself, what are we leaving behind? Do you really one day just wake up and say, what are we leaving behind our great-grandchildren or our children? What kind of Florida are we leaving them? What kind of America are we leaving them? Are we really willing to look at our children right now and tell them this is the best we can do? Because I'm not. And that's one of the reasons why I started running for Congress. Let me go back to New York City, right? Because I have to tell you guys this, right? Because this is a proven fact. I love my city to death. New York City recently elected a mayor. Listen, they recently elected a mayor that has proven in 8 months that when you put the people before power and money, things will get done. And I want people to understand that government can work for ordinary people. Government should work for ordinary people. And if people can demand a change in New York City, then we could demand that same change right here in Florida. And we can do it by voting on November 3rd for that change that we want right here in Florida. Because I'm tired of politicians saying that change can't be done. I'm gonna go back to my Obama era, although I was only 18 years old. Yes, we can. And we will, right? We can and we will, because Florida families don't need another politician in office explaining nothing, right? They come through and they say, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna fight for you in Washington, right? And what have we got? Nothing. We need representatives willing to fight for change, and it starts with public education. I'm a big factor in public education. Like I said before, I'm a product of public education. Public education made me who I am today, and I believe something very simple, that public money should fund public things. I'm not saying private school is bad. I'm saying that if you want your kid to go to private school, you need to pay private funds. Right? Because I believe tax dollars should be used first and foremost to support public education that's open to every single child. We need to put our money where it belongs, in classrooms, in special education, in counselors, in vocational and technical schools, in classroom technology, and safer school. And God damn it, pay our teachers more, because they need it. They definitely need it. I don't understand in a state that's supposed to be thriving that we are, they're telling us a state we're thriving, we got all this money, but we're 40th in education and 50th in teachers' pay. I just don't understand that some kind of, the school budget here in Lake County is a certain amount, but the schools actually only get a lower amount than they were promised. These are things that we need to fight for on a federal level. And one of my biggest things is when I get to the federal government, when I get elected in November, is that we need to kick out that Linda McMahon lady, right? Because we don't need a wrestler in Congress. We need somebody who's educated and informed. And we need to fully open up the Department of Education in the federal government, because those are the only protections our students have. My children, 2 of them, has IEPs and 504s. And right now in public schools, if they don't honor their programs, there's nobody we can turn to, nobody we can grieve to. And so what we're seeing in Florida in the public schools is they're saying, well, that's the best we can do. That is not the best we can do. We fund all these other things. Our children should always come first. Another big thing of mine is universal health care. Listen, I believe healthcare is a right. I worked in EMS for many years. I've seen people literally die because they can't go to the hospital or get a doctor's appointment or get their medication. Getting cancer or any kind of those diseases that are life-threatening, it should not bankrupt us, right? We got money going to organizations that don't really need it right now. Ron DeSantis and his wife. Right? I don't think nobody should be deciding if medication should be the factor or food because they can't afford their prescriptions. No parent should look at a sick child and say, I can't afford to take you to the doctor today, honey. You're just going to have to stay home from school and hopefully it passes. Because those are the struggles that family are facing right now. We live in the United States of America, and we can do better than that. And whenever somebody tells me that universal health care is too ambitious, I ask them one question, right? Why is taking care of Americans too ambitious? Right? Because in Washington right now, when they want to find the money, they find the money. Pools and ballrooms and F-15 fighter jets, right? Say it again. Bombs. I'm getting to my wars. I'm getting there. Hold on, I'm getting there, right? When these big corporations need something, we find the money. When lobbyists come knocking at the door, they find the money, right? But when a working mother needs child care, how are we going to pay for it? When a senior needs their prescription medication or a boost in their Social Security checks, how are we going to pay for it? Right? When teachers need better pay, how are we going to pay for it? Let me tell you how we pay for it. We stop sending our damn money to countries that's funding these wars and killing innocent people. It's period. We spend $2 billion a day on this war. And now listen, I got nothing against Israel, I got nothing against Ukraine, I got nothing against all that. But those countries have what we want in America. And I believe that we need to take care of our country first before any other country. I'm not saying that we shouldn't help our allies, right? But from a quote from Medea, I don't know if you guys show Medea, Tyler Perry, right? Right? He said this. If you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? And we take that factor in to say, if we can't take care of ourselves, how are we going to take care of anybody else? These countries have universal health care. They have universal child care. They got technology and free education and free housing, everything that we want here. So what I'm saying to you guys is that don't listen to these people. We have the money, but we need a fighter in there that's going to make sure that we can fight and bring that money back home to America and back home to our country. Oh, hold on, we're going to get there. I'm a big proponent against these AI data centers. As I told you, I worked in law enforcement. These flock cameras it's horrible. These flock cameras can see beyond what any human should know about any other human. Talking about a violation of our constitutional rights. Those flock cameras are run by private entities that have access to unfathomable amounts of data. And I can tell you the truth right now because I was one of those law enforcement officers that saw it. Also, I am 100% against ICE. I want to abolish ICE 100%. That does not mean that we shouldn't have Border Patrol or some kind of immigration enforcement, but that's not what's happening right now. We're ripping families apart. We're tearing children away from their mothers. School systems are missing thousands of unaccounted children, and nobody can seem to find them. These are children that's born in America. These are parents that have lived in America their entire lives, that probably some kind of mistake in their paperwork that they're grabbing up out the streets and taking away. Why? Because Ron DeSantis and the Trump administration want to keep hold to that power. And what I want you guys to know here today is that I am a fighter. I think I'm the fighter that we need in Washington right now to stand up to this bigotry, this hatred, this racism, and get our country back from those in Washington that promised us we're going to go there and fight for you and haven't give us nothing. So I'm going to tell you this. One last thing. Hold your elected officials accountable. Please do. If you ever see Ronnie getting out of line, come to my office. Reach out to Sandy. She'll keep me in line. My wife, they'll keep me in line. My grandmother, she told me to this day, no matter how old you get, I'll still put you on my lap. I said, yes, ma'am. But I'm here to tell you guys, thank you for believing in our democracy, in our change, and never giving up. Because if you give up, everybody else will give up. And I'm here to let you guys know that change will come, and I'm a proven factor of it. So please, let's keep fighting. I'm Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera. I want to say this one last thing, and I'm going to come and tell you this on this mic. Yes, I wasn't born and raised in Florida, but Florida is my home right now. I'm the only candidate in this race who has served his entire life giving back to the community. I didn't just start doing this because I wanted to run for Congress. This is my life. My passion is to serve you. And I want to take that same fight to Washington. So please, if you haven't already voted, because everybody who lives in Florida's 6th Congressional District, you know, because you know who our representative is right now. You know. Early voting started on the 6th. It's open right now. After this meeting, you can walk down there, and every single candidate that you see right here that you can vote for, give them your vote, because we are the people that are fighting for you. We don't take any grassroots, we don't take any AI PAC money, we don't take any corporate money, because I believe that if we don't take that money right now, there's nobody that can pull our strings when we get to Washington. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate y'all.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. And just so you know, everyone here in Mid-Florida Lakes, we are in Ronnie's district. Representatives for District 11. Royal is a true public servant, lifelong educator, Army veteran, and grassroots leader. Royal is a former U.S. Army military intelligence analyst, a public high school teacher, and the founder of Read 17 Literacy Initiative. Throughout his life, he has dedicated himself to serving others, first in uniform, then in the classroom, and now as a candidate for Congress. As a 100% grassroots Democrat, Royal is focused on the issues that matter most to working families. He believes making America more affordable starts with lowering the everyday costs that matter most: health care, prescription drugs, groceries, child care, and energy, so every family has the opportunity to thrive. He is also committed to strengthening public education, supporting our veterans, protecting our environment, and ensuring every American has the opportunity to succeed. His campaign has earned the endorsement of the Democratic Progressive Caucus of Florida, Democratic Environmental Caucus of Florida, the Democratic Hispanic Caucus of Florida, and Florida for Bernie, organizations that recognize his commitment to principled people-first leadership. Please join me in welcoming a husband, father of 4, veteran, educator, and Democratic candidate for Florida's 11th Congressional District, Mr. Royal Webster.
I'm done. That was a long intro. I got it. So, good afternoon. Thank you for all being here. You heard I'm a teacher, so we're going to have a quiz right now. How many of you are former teachers or current teachers? Please stand up. Stand up. Please give them a round of applause. How many of you are veterans? Please stand up. How many of you are either current or former union members? Please stand up. One more. How many of you are Hispanic by any means? Thank you. So if you noticed, I stood standing the entire time, right? Because I'm all for those. Mi madre era cubana. My mom was Cuban. I was born in Miami. I speak Spanish fluently. I was a Spanish linguist in the United States Army as a military intelligence analyst. Another thing, my father-in-law is a Holocaust survivor. My 6 grandkids are biracial. If you add all that up, it makes me an American. Because we are the sum of all our products. There is not one straight line back. And I've said this before, and it got uncrazy amount of views on social media. But I'm going to say it again here. For everybody to understand this, there's only 3 ways our families got here. We're either indigenous, we were brought over on slave ships, or we're immigrants. That's it. There's no other way that our families got here. So to treat people other than human because they're coming here to chase the American dream, what are we doing? I signed the Abolish ICE Pledge. I don't believe in what they're doing. I believe in a strong border. I believe in securing our border, but we have to treat people humanely. And there has to be a way for somebody who's been here 25 years and worked every single day at an incredibly difficult job to be able to have a pathway to citizenship. I am an American veteran from the United States Army. It is the greatest socialist medical program that there probably exists. I haven't paid a bill for medical since I've been 18 years old. If we can do it for that, why can't we do it for everybody? And I know our soldiers did not pick to choose to go to this war. It was on a gut feeling. It was not on intelligence. The current president, I don't say his name. The current president said he went on a gut feeling. I understand the threat that Iran is. In 1982, Hezbollah formed. In 1987, Hamas formed. In 1994, the Houthis formed. Why? How do I know those dates? Because I worked against them when I was a military intelligence analyst. They are a terrorist organization, and Iran sponsors terrorism. But those 170 girls in the school that were slaughtered by a bomb did not sponsor terrorism. And we cannot just go and bomb people because they happen to live in a country. There are other ways. Negotiations. One president I will name, President Obama had us in a good treaty. Yes, do we have to verify? Yes, and we still don't believe them because I know who Iran is, but we just can't go bombing. And now we're getting to the point in this country that there are negotiations going about that we're not a part of, and that's never been heard of. And now it's Oman and Iran coming together to get a treaty to open up the Strait of Hormuz, and we're not a part of it. And this president lies about it every single day. And I was asked earlier today, I was up in the villages, and I was asked, well, how do we get out of there? The same way we get in. Just leave. Take the L, because we've lost there. And it's not the military that lost, it's the strategic plan that's lost. I will back the military 100%, but I will not back this president at all, right? And we have to do better in affordability. And affordability means something different for me than it does for my son, who's up here, than it does for people in the back and over here. If you go to my site, electoralwebster.org, if you know what universal basic income plan is, I believe in it, but I believe in a hybrid of it. And what it is it raises the floor for everybody, and it helps everybody up. Right now, if you pay everybody the minimum federal wage, they don't get above the poverty level. They stay below the poverty level if we pay them the minimum wage that's set by the federal government. The other thing we need to do for affordability is the reason why everything's so high, and I know I just talked about it, gas prices and diesel prices. And as long as we stay bombing and we restrict the amount of oil coming into our country and we start using our reserves to keep the prices down, once we stop using our reserves, the prices are going to skyrocket up to $5 and $6 a gallon. And we are much more dependent on fuel, petroleum, than Europe is, because they have mass transit, and we have mass transit in about 5 cities. That's it. And Central Florida is not one of them. A couple of other things that I really believe in is education. I'm a teacher. Now, most people, first of all, Ronnie mentioned Linda McMahon, my favorite picture of her. She's standing in front, she took a picture, and there's a bookshelf behind her, and there's no books on the bookshelf. If that doesn't say enough about her, I don't know what else will. But education is usually a state-run level thing. When you get to listen to David Jolly, he has some great plans for education, and I support them all. But at the national level, our biggest problem with education is literacy. We read at a 5th grade level, about 72% of this country reads at a 5th grade level. And the other 28% read lower than that. And it's not about money, it's about priorities. We want to keep the populace at a low level of education. Why? Because fascism thrives with a less educated populace. But literacy, if you go to my site, I have a Project Literacy 2040. We need to increase literacy by the year 2040, and that's my plan, to the 9th grade level for 97% of the country. And it's not, again, not about money. How do I know it's not about money? Because Cuba, who's one of the poorest countries in the world, has a 97% literacy rate. And they do it because they prioritize it. We have the greatest army. I told you, I love the United States Army. I love our military. But we have the greatest military because we prioritize wars. If we prioritized education, maybe we'd have the best education in the world. If we prioritize healthcare, maybe we'd have the best healthcare in the world. It's all about priority. It's never about money in this country. And we have to spend it responsibly. Not on ballrooms, not on arches, but for the first time since 1946, our debt has surpassed our GDP. For the first time since 1946. And if you remember, we had just gotten out of a war, spent a lot of money out of it, but boy, was it a boom after. There's not going to be a boom right now, right? And there's a disconnect. Whenever people in government talk that are currently in office, they talk about the Dow Jones. And they talk about how it's over 53,000, 54,000. Well, there's a big disconnect between the boardroom and the kitchen table, right? And we got to bring that back together. We have to have more affordable food, we have to have more affordable health care, and we have to have more affordable everything. And it all starts with prioritizing things. $1.5 trillion of a budget to the military when 2 years ago it was $750 million. That's doubling it in 2 years. That's unacceptable. And it's not going to pay any of the military members. It's going to buy more bombs. And more bombs generate more money for corporations that are in the war business. And we need to get out of the war business. My site is electoralwebster.org. Please go on there, see all the issues. I have answers to a lot of the questions that are asked. If not, I will be here around. And I'm going to leave you with the same thing I leave every time I speak in front of people. The battle is August 18th. That's the primary. regardless of who wins the battle, whether it's me, whether it's Dan Williams, or whether it's James Pericola, I will get up the next day, and whoever needs help, I will say, what can I do? Because if we don't come together on August 19th as one big blue machine, come November 3rd, we might lose our country for the next 30 years. The last thing I'm going to tell you is I really want to make Florida as blue as it gets, and my favorite color blue is royal blue. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you very much, Royal. Our next candidate, Dan Williams, is running for Florida's 11th Congressional District. Dan is a progressive Democrat bringing a totally unique mix of energy to the table. Dan has over 20 years of experience as a college professor and has a background in engineering and technology, as well as working at Disney World for over 25 years. He is even a GLAAD-nominated reality TV contestant from the show Who Wants to Be a Superhero? Hosted by Stan Lee of the Marvel fame. Dan is incredibly passionate about modernizing our government and is championing direct democracy, a platform that gives the power back to the people by letting constituents vote directly on every major issue. Let's hear it for a true team player who is ready to make your voice matter again. Please give a huge welcome to Mr. Dan Williams.
How's everybody going? Wonderful. And David Jolly just walked in, and he's going to be next. So we see you back there. All right, so hi everybody. My name is Dan Williams, and I originally was born in Indiana. And I came down to Florida 26 years ago to work for Walt Disney World. And I worked there for 25 years at the Disney University. Now I'm a college professor, and I've been in higher education for about 20 years. And currently I teach at Full Sail University, which is up in Winter Park. And I teach web design and development. Now, I live right behind Magic Kingdom, which is, yes, in our district for District 11, with my partner and my little corgi, Jolene. She's my little fur baby right there. All right. Now, I want to start with a question and a show of hands. How many people believe that education is important to the future of America? Good. Give yourselves a round of applause for that one, because that is correct, right? Being a college professor, I value education more than anything else. Right? Because I believe that that is our future. One more quick question. How many people believe that technology is the future of America? Right? I would agree. So my degree is actually in engineering. And so I come at everything with an education and a technical background. And I blend those together for my main campaign. Now, I'm going to try to convince you that we need more techie people up in Congress. Because out of the 435 members of Congress, 5 of them have any kind of computer or technical skills. 5 people are trying to legislate against AI, data centers, cryptocurrency, stablecoins, and digital information privacy. And if you don't know what digital information privacy is, how many people have been talking by their phone and then magically you get an ad for that same thing you're talking about? Yeah? That is because your phone is actively listening to you, because we do not own our data in America, and that has got to change. But right now, there's not enough people up there that actually understand it in order to legislate against it. Now, my question for you is, how does one person represent 800,000 people? What do you guys think? I'm going to answer with probably not well, right? Because no matter how many people that you talk to, about half of people are always going to be disenfranchised because they don't feel like they have a voice for you. And so we have to change that, because about 30 years ago, you could disagree with someone and still have an actual conversation with them. And that has changed right now, right? So we need to get back to where we can actually have a conversation with each other. Now, if I asked you guys, what is the most important topic to you guys right now? What would you guys say? Anyone? What? Affordability. What was yours? Healthcare. Good. Anybody else? Yeah, impeachment. I love that one. That's a darn good one. Yeah, I would agree that all of those are fantastic things. But how does one person actually do that, right? Because how do I poll you guys and ask you what's important for you? Right now, there's no way to do it. Because you could email your representative or give them a call, but how many people have done that? How many people have actually, what happens with it? You leave a message and nothing, right? And the problem with that is that Congress is not bound by FOIA, which is Freedom of Information Act. And what that does is it allows us transparency in government. And the weird thing is, Congress doesn't have to abide by it. So I wanted to know about Daniel Webster's calls. So I tried to get his call logs about how many people called in for different bills. And it was actually that one big, beautiful bill, right? And his office told me, oh, we don't have to give you that data, and we're not going to give it to you. So when they tell you that they have a mandate, how do they prove it? You have to take their word for it, and honestly, that's not good enough right now. Would you guys agree? Yes. Absolutely. So I feel to be a good representative, we're going to have to do three things. The first one is direct representation. The next one is going to be instant accountability, and finally the third is going to be cooperation. So let me start at the beginning. Now, I believe that policies are better than parties because policies tend to unite people, where parties tend to divide people, especially today. How many people have Republican friends? Perfect. How many people used to have Republican friends? Right. It's getting to the point where you can't actually have a conversation anymore. But if you focus on the policies, I'm going to tell you that a lot of people agree on a lot of policies. There's usually that small vocal minority on the right-hand side that would tell you that we're wrong, but they are a small majority of that. Now, one of those policies that's going to unite everyone is affordability, right? Every person is talking about it right now, but everybody talks about it as one thing, where it's not really one thing. It has to be broken down into smaller individual subjects. And this is actually what I teach. So I teach computer programming. So in my classes, we have big problems, and the first thing we do is start breaking them down into smaller individual chunks that are much easier to solve. Then we put them back together, and eventually we get healthcare. Right? So, or affordability. So the buckets that I always break it down to is healthcare, care economy, housing, hidden junk fees, and those daily essentials. We're going to break those down even farther because when I get up in Congress, all of my laws will be one issue because I don't want these 1,000-page documents that the people don't even read, right? We need one simple thing with plain language that we can all understand. Right. Now, this is my favorite article from a newspaper in Winter Garden. It says, is Daniel Williams' direct democracy plan just weird enough to win? And she said that because I say weird more than anyone else except for Tim Walz. And she actually put that in there. And honestly, I wear that like a badge because I love it. Because right now in America, weird is the only word that actually makes sense. Because what we're doing now is anything but normal. So my plan of attack is direct democracy, and that is my main platform that I'm running on. It is very simple. It is you vote and I listen. Period. So how that's actually going to work is for every major law or bill we try to pass up in DC, I'll make an educational video that helps explain that law. Exactly what happens when we vote yes, and exactly what happens when we vote no, using only facts instead of any kind of political party messaging, because I believe that usually the truth is somewhere in the middle of it, right? In that same video, at the end of it, I will give my opinion, which will be clearly labeled as my opinion about what I think is best for our district. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to a district-wide vote using the Digital Democracy Project, who's actually here with us right now. So if you want to, you can always sign up in the back. Sadie, go ahead and wave. Everybody take a look. So Sadie's back there. And what they are is they're a nonprofit company that is also nonpartisan. They're only interested in transparency in election. And they use encryption levels for military encryption. So they use votes, V-O-A-T-Z. So that same company is the people that help our military vote overseas. So we're talking military level security. And also so we know that every single vote on this app is a real person and not a bot or a bad actor. But the great part is after that is we can see it live. So they have a tally board where once you vote, you can see it instantly. So you know that your vote counted and your voice is heard. Now the second half of this is whatever the majority opinion is on this vote will become my direct vote up in DC. Because I don't believe that one person, me, should speak for 800,000 of us without ever asking your opinion. Because I want to put the power back in the hands of the people where I think it belongs. All right. One of my endorsements that I'm extremely proud of is the American People's Compact. Now, the American People's Compact is a great organization because they are research-based. They actually went out and did polls, and they came up with 80% of people agreeing on 16 different topics. And these 16 different topics are everything that you're going to care about. It is fighting against data centers. It is equality for all. And everything that you want is in this list, which proves that a majority of people agree on these most topics, right? So a lot of people are going to tell you, oh, aren't you concerned about the Republicans? No, because honestly, they're voting against their best interest now. And what's going to happen is, as soon as they realize that, they're going to start voting with us. And we have here, right? Are you with us? Yeah, you are. Thank you for being here. Now, in our district, in District 11, here's how it breaks down. There are 40% Republicans, 30% Independent, and 30% Democrats. So we cannot do this by ourselves. What we need to do is we need to make sure that we're getting all of the independents on our side. But right now, they feel disenfranchised. All right? Because we have closed primaries. So what does that mean, right? That means that they don't get a vote in who we actually pick for our primaries. They only get to vote in the general election. First of all, I'm against that. I believe they should have a voice in all elections. And, right? But I believe we need to have a platform that is center. So my platform is extremely in the center of the road. Me personally, I am very, very left. I am very progressive. I believe in Medicare for all. I believe that it is a right that we should fight for. I also agree with Royal that we need to abolish ICE and we need to replace it with something better, right? We can make it better with technology as well. So technology up there in Congress is a problem right now because there is not enough technology and people that understand it. So we're living in the Stone Ages, which we need to be able to change that. Now, what we have to do is we need to make sure that we're focusing on flipping this seat in November. So I would completely agree with Royal. So when you're actually making your primary vote, who is going to be able to win in November? Ask yourself that and vote for that person. If it's not me, I understand. But if it is me, I would love your vote because I believe that I can get those independents to flip my way. Let's talk about cooperation. So cooperation is important to me. It's one of the foundational keys. So this actual program right now is being put on by the Blue Wave, which is a website that I created. So if you don't have a card on your seat yet, you can always see my table in the back. What it is, it's a website that I developed where you can actually type in your address and it will tell you all of your candidates that are running. All right? Now, why is that important? Because we need to make sure that people know who to vote for. I also believe in working with multiple levels of government. So up on the screen right now is a website that I'm working on with the Braver Angels. How many people know what the Braver Angels are? Anybody? A couple people in the back, right? So they're an organization that brings Republicans and Democrats together to have actual meaningful conversations and attempt to tackle things in bipartisan manners. And so what this website is going to be talking about is property homestead exemption tax. How many people know what that is? Right? It's going to be a big issue. However, it's local and state. So why am I involved, right? Well, they came to me and asked me if I could make the technology work. And so what I did is I made them a whole website where you can type in your address and it will tell you exactly what you're paying in your homestead exemption and exactly how that would change and how much money would be coming out of the fire departments, the police departments, your libraries, and your parks. And we're going to try to convince you guys to vote no on that amendment. All right? Yeah. Now, this is the Blue Wave site that I was talking about. So in case you see this logo, I made this from scratch, and it was actually my sister's idea, so I do give her credit. Now, what you're going to do is you can always go to the redistricting section, because how many people are confused by the redistricting that's happening? Anybody? Yeah, me too. And so I made this website a week after they announced it, because there was no good way to see if your district had changed. So what I did is I had it where you can type in your address, and it shows you your old district, your new district, also your Florida House, so you can vote for Robyn, and your Florida Senate. Right? So you can all find that in one place. You can also filter all of the candidates that are running by typing in your address as well. And no information is stored because I believe in digital privacy. One more thing about cooperation. How many people know who Angie Nixon is? Okay. We need a lot more hands in this because she is running for the U.S. Senate and she's running against Alex Vindman. So have you heard of her? Now, Angie Nixon, the first time I ever heard her talk was at an Orange County meeting and she literally made me cry. She is that passionate of an individual where I cannot be more supportive of what she's doing. And so if you haven't voted yet, please consider Angie Nixon for that Senate seat. Now, let's go through it one more time. Direct representation. My vote is your vote. So I want to make sure that every single person's voice is heard and your opinion is counted. Instant accountability. My vote is not my own. My vote is yours. So I can never be bought. This actually goes against corruption as well. How many people know what lobbyists do? Right? So lobbyists try to convince one person to vote their way, right? And they only have to convince one person to get 800,000 of us to go along with it. My thing flips it on its ear. So they would have to convince every single one of you guys to get my one vote. Do you think they can do that? I don't really think they can. So I'm not going to be falling for any of this kind of stuff. And for every single vote, you are going to have my instant accountability for it. And lastly, cooperation. Cooperation, I want to work with every single level of government, which is why I'm extremely excited that we could put this on here today. So a big shout out to Robyn and all the other candidates and all the booths that came. So thank you so much. And I'll just leave you with one thing. My intro did say that I was on a TV show with Stan Lee, and here it is. So here's me in my spandex and cape, and I literally did compete as a superhero running around the streets fighting evil villains. But now I'm hanging up my cape, and I'm gonna fight for you guys up in DC. Thank you guys so much. My name is Dan Williams, and you can find me at danwilliamsforcongress.com. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Dan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the speakers for our local area. At this time, I would like to give the mic back to my beautiful wife, Robyn Elaine Lawrence.
I'm back again. Hi. What did we talk about earlier? We the people, right? Repeat after me. We the people. You guys are going to get tired of that, right? We the people. We the people. All right. So it is my honor to introduce you to a candidate that I said I have to introduce this person. Today, I have the honor to introduce you to the leader who believes Florida's economy should work for everyone. Not just the wealthy, not just the well-connected, but working families in every community across our state. He understands Floridians are struggling with rising cost of health care, homeownership, and homeowners insurance. He knows families deserve access to quality health care, strong public schools, and he believes something that should never be controversial. Every person deserves to have their rights protected. You can clap at that. Their dignity, respect, and their voice heard up in Tallahassee and across the great state of Florida. David Jolly is a fifth-generation Floridian. The son of a minister, he's a husband, a father, and an attorney, and a former United States congressman. His faith taught him that leadership begins with treating people with kindness, dignity, and respect. Throughout his career, David has fought for veterans, seniors, advocating for better wages and the economy, supported young people and the environmental protection, and challenged corruption and the influence of big money in our government. David knows Florida. He knows our challenges, and most importantly, he believes in our potential. This election is about what kind of Florida we want to leave for our children and our grandchildren. A Florida where families can afford to live. A Florida where our schools are strong and safe. A Florida where health care is within reach. A Florida where our environment is protected. And a Florida where freedom belongs to everyone. Sorry. So Florida, Lake County, District 26, please get on your feet and make some noise for the next governor of Florida, David Jolly!
Thank you, everyone. How we doing today? You know, I said, am I going to talk for 5 or 10 minutes? But after that introduction, I think we got to go to church a little bit. And I'm not asking you to share my faith. I'm not asking you to subscribe to any faith. But I think what you heard in that introduction is something that's bigger than any one candidate, bigger than our politics right now. Sure, we can have a lot of conversations around policies, but this cycle, this moment in American history where the country is broken and divided and we are in crisis, it's about litigating something bigger than our politics. It's about litigating who we are as a people. This is about believing in better. This is about believing in something better. Listen, before I get started, I need to make a very special introduction because this doesn't happen every day. It's happening more along the trail as we hit into the last 90 days, but it's always exciting when we've got our family on the road. I want you to welcome my wife, Laura, and our 2 kids, Cece and Teddy, in the back of the room. And if you can't notice, Cece and Teddy are 7 and 5. Yeah. And I'm going to save you the Google. I'm 53. We're first-time parents. They're 7 and 5, and I'm amazed that 2 kids can come from the same womb and be so different. Take an opportunity to visit with our kids. Cece's going to bounce off the guardrails, and boom, she's headed to the governor's mansion herself. She'll be there before I am. Little Teddy, he's already the mayor of every room he walks into. Teddy also has already told us that he's never leaving the house. Isn't that right, buddy? Yeah, he told Laura that he wants to be a stay-at-home dad. And he meant our house, not his. He meant he wants Laura and I to raise his kids for him. But look, God bless the partner that Teddy finds, Cece as well. It's a special time when our family can be on the trail together. We joke it's the right time in our family to be running for governor because our kids are out of diapers, but not on social media. And if any of you caught the ad that Byron Donalds just released today, you'll understand why we're glad our kids aren't on social media. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. We're going to talk about the ad that Byron Donalds just dropped on us, because I want to leave something very clear before we leave this event about how we need to approach the next 90 days in our politics. But before we do that, let me share a little bit about the values of our campaign. I introduced my family. We live over in the Tampa Bay area, Pinellas County, the beaches outside of Tampa. I was born there. My father was a minister. As I said, I speak openly about my faith. Not to evangelize, it's just part of who I am. I grew up in Miami then for 10 or 12 years. I've lived in Pasco County in Dade City, where I graduated from high school. I've lived in Pensacola. I'm a 5th-generation Floridian. I've lived all over the state. Laura and I care deeply about this state, and we've chosen to raise our kids here, despite some of the days where we wonder, is that the responsible decision? Think about it. Whatever your walk of life, you know that we are a nation that is not living up to our potential, that the economic crisis is real for too many families, that we're a state exhausted by culture wars, and we are witnessing outright corruption in Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. So yes, what do we do about it? What do we do about it? I'll tell you, there are 3 values that I talk about in our politics, and they're values that led me to find my political home in today's Democratic Party. You see, I speak over, yes, thank you. Thank you for the welcome. I appreciate that. Some of you may know, I used to be a Republican. Yeah. And listen, I've done about 300 of these all across Florida. I say I'm doing what Lawton Childs did. I'm just driving, not walking. And when I say I used to be a Republican, it's fascinating what the response is, depending on what part of the state you're in. And listen, I left the party over 10 years ago. I was kind of a Bush 41 Republican, never good enough Republican. I served in the Congress as a Republican. I supported marriage equality, climate science, gun control, campaign finance reform, all the things that my party wanted to get rid of me because, and the Democrats didn't need me. And so my political life became the axiom in politics that if you stand in the middle of the road, you get run over. That was my political career in Congress. But I fought the Tea Party and lost, fought the Freedom Caucus and lost. I fought Trumpism and lost. And so eventually, as I told Bill Maher, there are fights you walk away from. And I walked away from the party about 10 years ago. I became an independent for 5 or 6 years. One of the periods of the most growth for me personally. You see, I grew to just reject the left-right spectrum. I think we tether ourselves unnecessarily to labels, to partisanship, to the dogmas, instead of realizing we just have big problems that need big solutions. But it led me into the Democratic Party because I found the values that I know are right to lead us into the next generation. And that's why today I'm a proud Florida Democrat, not a reluctant Florida Democrat. And so I'll just tell you, I don't think the problem in politics, folks, are people who change. I think the problem in politics are people who won't change, And I would say to my Democratic friends who say, oh, you used to be a Republican, that's right. Isn't the whole point of this exercise in politics to win hearts and minds and to evangelize and bring people over? Congratulations, you caught one. Look, there are values that I think are required of us today to lead us into the repair that our nation needs. Look, the nation and the state, as I said, I believe we are broken. We are in crisis. We are more divided than ever before. We wake up and our politicians tell us to hate each other and to turn on our neighbors. They tell us that some people are worthy of this economy and some people aren't. That some people are worthy of health care and some people aren't. That some people are worthy of a quality education and some people aren't. That some people are worthy of clean air and clean water and some people aren't. That people without political power are going to get a data center in their backyard, but if you have enough money and political power, don't worry, it won't be in your backyard. We are a nation that is in crisis. We are broken and we are more divided than ever before, and our leaders are failing us. Sure, I speak openly about my faith, but I also say this. Whatever informs us, we all orient our lives and our politics around basic values, whether that's informed by faith or simply what Thomas Jefferson declared as the very natural rights of man. There are basic values that this nation has held together, that has created the strength of our nation, certainly since World War II, that has created the most economic opportunity for the most number of Americans, but those values have come under attack, and the investments that have allowed it to occur have come under attack as well. So what are those values that I talk about? 3 very simple values, not policies. The policies flow from the values. We could talk about it for hours. I could put you to sleep in the next 20 minutes. But here are the values. First, the economy should work for everyone. The economy should work for everyone. That's a value. That's a value. Now listen, I take a little different tack than some. I don't condemn success. I don't beat up on success. I don't think we have to fight the haves to fight for the have-nots. A lot of people have worked very hard in this economy. They've gotten themselves ahead. They've earned the opportunities they've created for themselves. Congratulations on the success. We wish you well. But the economy is not working for everybody, and we know that. Folks, half of the state tonight does not have enough savings to last 2 weeks. Working families, working individuals, employed people, retirees do not have enough savings to last 2 weeks. Can't absorb a lost job, a broken relationship, a car repair, a disruption in their life. The economy's not working for everybody, and it should. Half of the state, not half the state, but more people in the state than ever before are now going without health care. More people than ever before in the state of Florida are going without health care. Many may benefit from the earned benefits of Medicare. Some benefit from subsidized care, whether it's Medicaid or other programs. Some might have subsidies that allow you to access the ACA. But folks, the number of people going without health care today is shocking. Shocking. It's a luxury for many people. They hope they don't get sick. Or if you know somebody in your life who has a sick kid and they're afraid to go to the doctor because it will bankrupt them. The economy's not working for everybody. And yes, in a state that abandoned public education, now education has become a part of people's personal economic crisis because they look for a local public school. It's been defunded. They look down at the voucher school and they say, yes, you're welcome here. We're not going to promise to teach your kid to read, and we're going to charge you tuition on top of your voucher. So the very families that were supposed to benefit from choice are being priced out of an education for their kids because we've defunded public education and we're charging tuition for choice. The economy's not working for everybody, folks, and it should. That's a value. So the second value is a corollary to that. which is that government can do a little bit to help. Now look, I think government should be lean and efficient. We should hold it accountable. Where the private sector has solutions, great, let's chase them. Let's incentivize them to do that. Often it's more efficient, more nimble. But let's just be honest. It's not the fault of the private sector, but it is a truism that they're not going to solve all our problems for us, as much as we wish they would. They're not going to educate every child in the state of Florida because there's not a profit model to do that. They're not going to deliver unsubsidized health care because there's not a model to do that. In a state that has denied climate science and climate change, where the cost of homeowners insurance is impacted by the next big storm, the private sector is not going to affordably solve homeowners insurance in the state of Florida. The private sector is not going to invest in clean air and clean water because there's not a model for them to do that. It's not their fault. It's just a recognition that since World War II, the country has decided to make responsible social investments using government as a lever, our taxpayer dollars, to strengthen the resiliency of our economy and create the most amount of mobility. And so when my former party moved from being the party of less government to then in the Tea Party, the party of no government, to under this president, government's the enemy, understand eventually as we attack all of those social investments in housing, healthcare, education, and the environment, we're attacking ourselves. I don't care what your party registration is. I don't care what your ideology is. It's just stupid. It's foolish. Listen. I'll give you a couple of examples without getting too far down the road into policy, but listen, we need a state catastrophic fund for homeowners insurance to recognize that if we move hurricane and wind out of the private market, put it in a state sovereign wealth fund, we can cut homeowners insurance by 60 to 70%. 60 to 70%. I introduced a catastrophic plan in Congress 10 years ago as a Republican. I'm proposing it now as a Democrat because it's the only actuarially sound way to cover natural disasters. My Republican friends call it socialism. I just call it cheaper insurance. and look, if we want to play the communism socialism game for a minute, they already have a state hurricane fund, a socialized hurricane fund, and you know what they use it for in Tallahassee? To bail out insurance companies. I'm just suggesting we use it to bail out homeowners and get the backs of ratepayers. We can use their platform. They like to throw around the term communist. You know the highest ranking communist official in the United States today? His name is President Donald Trump. You know why? When the state takes ownership of production, a 10% interest in Intel, an interest in NVIDIA's chips, an interest in the Nippon Steel Company, folks, none of that ever happened under Democratic presidents, only under this president. I would ask Byron Donalds today, do you support your communist president? Are you part of the communist wing of the Republican Party? And if you think that sounds silly, it's because it is. We don't need to throw around these accusations of socialism and communism as though it's somehow designed to divide us. Let's have a rational policy conversation. Sure, I don't think the federal government should take an interest in private companies because I still subscribe to the old school economics of my previous party. I'm not sure that I'm the one that's changed so much as they have on that issue. But look, housing, healthcare, and education are areas in which we can invest and help everybody across the state of Florida. For homeowners, a state catastrophic fund. For renters, we have proven models of success in delivering workforce and affordable housing, senior living that allows people to age in place, public-private partnerships that deliver more affordable units in more communities. People can live in the community in which they work, either based on income or trade or occupation or proximity to work. We have models to do it. Let's just scale it up and do it in more communities. Healthcare is one in which we know 40 other states have expanded Medicaid. And as a result, it's improved health outcomes and reduced costs for the state. So, whether you're a progressive that believes in more healthcare or a conservative that believes in reducing costs to the state, it just makes too much sense. We should expand Medicaid in the state of Florida. But I'll tell you, in the Lawton Child's journey that I've taken, I've come to understand something else about healthcare. I don't think we can wait on Medicaid expansion. I think we should immediately move in the next session of the legislature to scale up the direct delivery of health care in more counties across the state, with the goal being all 67 counties. Now, when my Republican friends say, oh, that's big government, that's Mandami talk, no. Let's just start with what they're currently funding. Because you see, we're currently funding the direct delivery of health care in pockets across the state, and we have success models. I'll give you a few. In Pensacola, the underserved community of Brownsville, the hospital just closed. There's now 2 bus stops to get to health care. The truancy rate in the local elementary school is going above state standards because families are having to jump rents because of gentrification. They don't know where to put a roof over their head, much less where to educate their kid. It's a community that's been completely economically disrupted. But there's a federally qualified health center that makes sure if you need primary health care, you can receive it regardless of the ability to pay. In Broward County, there's 6, I believe, county health clinics that effectively provide primary health care services, increasing health outcomes, improving health outcomes, and reducing costs. In Little Haiti, it's a faith-based nonprofit that sees 300 patients every single week, delivering primary health care, improving health outcomes, and reducing costs. Models that already work. And guess what? Supported by Democrats and Republicans currently alike. So let's work with Republicans and say, let's just scale up what's working. I've spoken to those administrators in Pensacola and Little Haiti, and I said, if we were to invest in these in Levy or Lafayette or rural healthcare deserts, could you do it there? And they said, we could start tomorrow. Folks, it doesn't matter if you're progressive or conservative. If we can improve health outcomes and reduce costs, why aren't we doing it? The reason why is because Tallahassee is litigating the legacy of a guy named Barack Obama. That's why they're not delivering health care. And it's wrong. We should focus on delivering more health care to more Floridians. Housing, healthcare, education. The last thing I'll give you on that point, that government can do a little bit to improve our lives, and I'll keep this short. I'm looking around and I know there's not a lot of parents of first graders here today. Grandchildren. Look. Let's hold off on policy for just a moment. We got 90 days to go. A lot of campaigns are about something far simpler than policies. It's about a choice. It's a choice. We're a state that chose 25 years ago. Through our elected leaders, we chose to attack and abandon and defund public education, and it's wrong. It's wrong, folks. It is wrong. We should choose to lead the world in public education. Lead the world. Not just Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, God bless them, but lead China and India. It creates a more resilient economy. It invests in our youth. It transforms lives. Why wouldn't we do it? It's one of the purest reflections of who we are as a people and what are our priorities. Shouldn't we be giving the next generation every opportunity to grow and succeed? Yes, and to contribute to our economy. But we're a state that decided to defund and attack public education. Folks, we pay our teachers dead last in the nation. Dead last in the nation, and it's a moral wrong. We're the 3rd largest state with the 4th largest GDP, and we've chosen to pay our teachers dead last in the nation. We're 40th in per capita spending, and our 8th grade test scores are falling off a cliff. Not because the teachers aren't showing up with their love and commitment every day, transforming lives, but because our politicians have abandoned our teachers and our educators and our paraprofessionals and our volunteers. So let's be a state that chooses to lead in public education. I've proposed a 10-year renaissance in public education using tourist development tax dollars, 91% of which 91% of which are paid for from out-of-state visitors, to fund a nearly 30% increase in teacher pay, move us into the top half nationally, recover any failed infrastructure properties, build platforms of learning for the future of education, whatever that looks like, and make sure we're investing in the basic services that help kids actually show up and be prepared to learn, whether it's mental health counseling, food security services, or other provisions that are necessary. It's a choice. It's a choice. We currently require ourselves to use tourist dollars on more tourism. It makes sense. It's intuitive. It's one of our 3 major economic drivers: tourism, ag, and construction. But we require ourselves to use our tourist dollars on convention centers, on advertising our beaches in Chicago in January on the L saying, come to sunny Florida. It makes sense, folks. It's intuitive. But listen, we don't have a crisis of convention centers in the state of Florida. We have a crisis in education. And so very quickly, I'll tell you on education, look, we'll keep choice, but there's going to be a whole new set of rules. Because right now in the state of Florida, I asked if there were parents of first graders. I didn't see any. Guess what? A choice school doesn't have to teach a first grade kid to read. If a kid can't read, they get to kick them out, send them back to public school. They don't have to provide an individual education program. If your kid's college bound, they don't have to provide access to academics, trigonometry in 10th grade, access to the trades or the arts. They don't have to do any of that. They get to take the voucher, not teach your kid, and send the kid back to public school, and it's wrong. But where choice helps certain families, sure, we'll keep it. It's not a fight against choice, but it's a fight for those families and kids. If a school takes a public dollar, they should have to provide the same services, standards, offerings, academics, the same. Provide the same credentials, be measured by the same measuring stick. If the measuring stick's good enough for a public school, it should be good enough for a private school as well. But I'll also tell you, we got to bring back means testing. Because the reality is, folks, I'm sorry, we're down to the last few months, I'm getting far more blunt. For those of you who've been in Florida a long time, you know how choice was sold to us. Jeb Bush, whatever his noble intention or otherwise, depending on your opinion, he showed us black and brown communities and said they need economic and educational mobility and vouchers will provide it. Guess what today? Vouchers are a product for white suburban communities in the state of Florida. Because when you don't restrict or means test, the very families that choice is supposed to help are now being asked to pay tuition of $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 on top of the voucher. We're economically disenfranchising the very families that could benefit the most from choice. The first year of universal school choice with no means testing, over 70% of first-year recipients were already enrolled in private school. It was just a move of dollars from the public system to the private system. Look, I'm open to a broad conversation about what choice looks like in the state of Florida, but only if we start with a renaissance in public education so that every one of Florida's families want to rush into our public schools, that we know we're going to get a world-class education, well-funded, where we get the backs of teachers, where teachers get to teach again in the classroom. Listen, housing, healthcare, and education, sure, government does a few other things, investing in the environment, clean air, clean water, recognizing that our quality of life and our economy depend on a strong environment, investing in safe communities. Nobody wants crime or a data center in their community these days. So yes, the economy should work, government can do its part. And then the last value that I speak of was part of the introduction, and it's, again, whether your foundations are rooted in faith or just the natural rights of man. We must be a place, folks, where everyone's rights are protected and their dignity is celebrated, regardless of the color of your skin, where you were born, who you love, or who you worship. Whether you believe in the basic teachings of love, or whether you understand that at the root of the great American experiment, despite all of our failings throughout history, has been this move where we're bending that arc of history towards progress. Look, we're a nation that didn't recognize women's franchise and suffrage or their economic rights when we were founded. People of color were recognized as 3/5. But the nation worked towards progress to begin to add additional rights and ensure that everybody's liberty would be protected. In our lifetime, a gay couple couldn't marry, but we moved towards progress and liberty for the most number of people. Folks, in the last 8 years, we're going backwards. We're going backwards, and it's wrong. It's wrong. We have a president, but particularly in Florida, a governor who has decided to marginalize communities based on the color of their skin, where they were born, who they love, or who they worship. Not everybody's a victim of the culture wars, but you know someone who is. If your access to the ballot box has been reduced, the lack of reproductive freedom and bodily autonomy, the attacks on who you love. Listen, I say this often, and it never gets a laugh, and I don't understand why, but I mean it to be funny, but also true. These culture wars didn't break out in Florida because the white churches got too rowdy. Thank you for laughing at that. The culture wars didn't start because the St. Patrick's Day parades got too big. The culture war started because black and brown communities and our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters found their voice and found political power and began to participate in our democracy in new ways, and it scared a bunch of politicians in Tallahassee. And they attacked. They came out and attacked. And as much as I would like to think that this era is over, that in a moment, when every voter you talk to has said, look, just end the culture wars, fix the economy. I'm worried about a roof over my head. I'm worried about my insurance bill. I'm worried about health care for my kids. I'm worried about where to educate my kids. Just do something about the economy. You see, that's why I'm running for governor, because I know that life is too expensive for people. And it's not going to be something we can solve on day one, but we can start on day one in a new direction, recognizing the economy should work for everybody, that government can do some new things. Yes, that's what voters are asking for. And you know what Byron Donalds did this morning? Byron Donalds took all of that special interest money that's funding his campaign from big tech, from the utilities, from the private equity funds that want to bring Airbnb into your neighborhood, the for-profit schools, the gambling interests. He took all of that money and he put $25 million into his first ad of the general election. And you know what it's about? It's not about housing. It's not about health care. It's not about education. It's not about food or gas or reducing your cost of living in the state of Florida. You know what it's about? It attacks me for believing that local communities should be able to celebrate their own and that government should stay out of your doctor's office. And you know what? And you know why he's doing it? Because he's scared. You know why the White House is backing him on this? Because they're scared. Because we're going to win this race in November, and they're terrified of it. They're terrified of it. They're terrified of it. They are losing their power. They are losing their power. And instead of getting it back by saying they're going to fix the economy, they're getting it back by trying to divide us, by scaring us, by breaking our trust in each other. And it's ugly. It's shameful. What kind of leader spends $25 million to divide a state already exhausted by culture wars? Someone who's not fit to be governor of the state of Florida, I promise you that. Listen. We have an opportunity to do something in this race. We are on the precipice of winning the governorship. All of us, not David Jolly and Gwen Graham, but this entire state is on the precipice of defying history and building a political coalition in this country that does not exist today. One that's rooted in the basic values of the Democratic Party, that the economy should work, government can do a little bit to improve our lives, and everyone's rights are protected. When we do that, we win the governorship. We improve the outcomes for kids like ours and yours and your grandkids. We build a coalition that hasn't been seen in American politics, led by Democrats, but together with independents and Republicans. But we do something else. We recognize that we are better in this moment, that this is a shameful chapter in our politics, that the president and the governor and Byron Donalds, who continue to try to divide us, don't deserve to be elected to office. They deserve to be kicked to the curb. Look. November's going to hold a mirror up to ourselves. Sure, as a candidate, I hope Gwen and I are strong enough to lead a coalition. But I was talking to a retired Republican U.S. Senator recently, and he said, you know, I'm never going to leave my party, but this year I'm going to vote for every Democrat on the ballot. And then he said, unless you give me a reason not to. Byron Donalds knows that at this broken chapter in our history, attacking people based on their personal identity is enough to scare some, is enough to divide us. But history is watching. History is calling. History's eyes are upon us. This is that moment where, yes, we're holding a mirror up to ourselves, but we're answering the calling of history. Because when we reject what has divided us, when we send packing the politicians who are less concerned about whether we have an economy that's working and are more concerned about dividing us and marginalizing us, we do something very special. We change the course of Florida. We change the course of our politics. We change the course of the country. But we change the lives of kids like Cece and Teddy. We change the lives of grandkids like yours and kids like yours. We renew our faith in each other. We reject the partisanship, the reflexiveness. And that's why I say when we do this, folks, yes, we'll win the governorship. But we're going to change the course of this country. We're being tested right now. This is a moment, I believe, most like a 1974 post-Watergate moment, where enough voters are standing up saying, burn the ships, let's go in a new direction. Folks, we got 90 days of choppy waters. If the election were tonight, we'd win the race. Every politician out there and every special interest dollar, from the White House to Byron Donalds, to the utility companies, to the data centers, and everybody else who's trying to own this race, they're not going to try to litigate ideology. They're going to try to break our trust in each other. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Let's go from today through November knowing that as a people, we are better than this. Believe in better, and let's go win the governorship. Thank you all very much. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of Florida, your next governor. Let's give him another round of applause. We are going to take some questions for Mr. Jolly. So DJ is going to come around with a microphone if you have a question for Mr. Jolly. But I have the first question. Being Lake County's first transgender candidate, what are you going to do to protect us?
So listen, when I've mentioned ending the culture wars, a place where everyone's rights are protected, there's a lot we got to do. One, I think we need to work with the legislature to the extent they will to roll back the attacks on marginalized communities, particularly our LGBTQ plus community. And whether you believe in advancing civil liberties or believe in the old Republican principles of staying out of your doctor's office and staying out of your lives, there's a lot to roll back legislatively. But I also know we can use executive actions to further protections for every community across the state of Florida. And where we need to litigate, we'll use the governor's office to litigate. Look, it's been 30 years of power on the other side. We have to go in with what I'm calling Project Sunrise and be ready on day one to use the legislature, use the courts, and use executive actions. Part of this also is a little bigger, not bigger, but another element to this is more than just the constitutional and statutory rights. It's also a voice of leadership that is welcoming to everybody. Let teachers teach. Bring back the books. Let our kids learn. Let our kids learn. Look, I say often, every child in the state of Florida should know about the Rosewood Massacre. They should know about the Groveland Four. They should know that Harry T. Moore and his wife were murdered on Christmas Day for having the audacity to register voters of color. They should know who Harvey Milk was before they land in San Francisco airport for the very first time. They should know about the Pulse nightclub and what hate led to. So yes, there's a lot we can do legislatively through the courts and through executive action, but part of it's also using voices of leadership to say, no, we're not going in that direction anymore. We're turning this ship around.
Thank you. All right, here's a question. Where do you stand on the property tax amendment?
Yeah, on the property tax amendment, look, I think we're all hoping the math works, but it never quite does. John Boehner used to tell me, don't worry, the math will work out in 30 or 40 years. And it never did. I will tell you, I'm waiting until the court finally disposes of it to say a hard yes or no. I imagine I'm going to side with law enforcement and firefighters who have recently come out against it, local officials who have said it will defund critical services. Even the governor who first proposed it is now not campaigning for it because he knows the math doesn't work. They abandoned the emergency fund that would be required for underfunded counties. I think it's going to be a hot mess. The question is, if it passes, who do you trust to clean it up? Byron Donalds or myself. I think we're going to need emergency relief right away in the first session. I also think what it's exposed is, I do think we need property tax relief. I think in particular we need first-time homebuyer property tax relief. Some first-time homebuyers buy a home from a long-time resident with 20 years of Save Our Home caps, and that tax bill for that next buyer jumps by 400, 500%. There's a reason first-time homebuyers used to be 28, 29 years old, and now it's 40, 41, 42. Taxes and insurance are more than the note. So I do think we should talk about relief, but I do think where this is leading us, whether it passes or not, is whether we should be talking about local control of homestead exemptions. Understand a statewide homestead exemption today, particularly of $250,000, disparately impacts counties in huge ways. Miami-Dade loses about $500 million in funding for critical services. You might argue they would survive. Mayor Cava would say, no, we won't, but that's the Miami-Dade impact. If you move to Levy, Lafayette, Putnam, some of the others, it can completely bankrupt a county. And so right now we let counties determine spending or taxing and millage, and we let them determine spending, but the state steps in the middle with this broad homestead exemption. Maybe the conversation should be about letting counties determine their own homestead exemption, right? Keep Save Our Homes, keep the current benefits, but what's the next stage? Does a local county want to rebalance some benefits to first-time home buyers? Should something apply to rental properties as well, some type of relief? Right now, if this is to pass, it's going to be a tax shift onto somebody, and in a lot of communities, it could be to our rental communities where the economic crisis is greatest. When the court makes a final decision, I'll make an announcement. I imagine, as I said, I'll be siding with law enforcement and firefighters on this and say the math just doesn't work. But I want to be prudent until the court finally makes a ruling before issuing that final statement.
Hello, Mr. Jolly. You were a Republican.
Yes, ma'am.
You were an independent, and now you're a Democrat. How can you guarantee us you will not become another John Fetterman? And what made you see the light and come the right way?
Sure. Thank you. So as I mentioned, change part of my journey, and I think it's part of the strength of this campaign, not a weakness. As I mentioned, look, there were a lot of things where I wasn't a good enough Republican. Marriage equality, climate science, gun control, campaign finance reform. But there were a lot of votes that I was taking early on that were some traditional Republican votes. I mentioned my faith. I'm also an attorney. When I got to Congress, I was wrongly applying some of my faith teachings to the question of reproductive freedom and bodily autonomy. And as I served, I started to feel the constitutional dissonance, if you will, between some of the votes I was taking and where I knew we should go. And I started to grow, not to run for governor, but 12 years ago as a Republican member of Congress. I became the only Republican in the Congress to vote against the Planned Parenthood investigation. When my colleagues moved to take $400 million from reproductive care by defunding Planned Parenthood, I introduced a compromise to move it to community health centers to provide for continuity of care, particularly in underserved communities. Still not good enough for many in the advocacy community, I understand that. But as part of my journey, I got to a full embrace of Roe and Casey. As a voter, I voted for Amendment 4, and as governor, I would introduce the language of Amendment 4 as a legislative package. Not where I started, but it was part of my journey. And I would simply offer this. I mean, I can tell you whether you believe it or not, I'm not going back to a party that is so radically changed. I don't recognize it, and I think in many ways it too often perverts the constitutional construct of where our laws should be. But I will also tell you this. If I have to prove to you what I've been willing to do, in 2016, I was the only, actually it's 2015, but that's 16 election cycle, I was the only sitting Republican member of Congress to stand up to Donald Trump. I went to the House floor, I called on him to drop out of the race, and I never wavered and I never turned back, and some would argue I lost my congressional seat over it. Because I think we see a bunch of weak cowards in Congress right now unwilling to stand up, and I proved I was willing to do it. I lost my political fortunes, lost some friends, and arguably some finances as well as a result of that. It was very disruptive, but Laura and I have the sleep well at night test. And listen, you know what I would be ashamed of right now? I would be ashamed if I hadn't have done that. I would be ashamed if I hadn't have done that. Now look, I'm also willing to challenge all of us in our politics. You know, I think we need electoral reforms. I think we need independent redistricting commissions. I do think we need some version of open primaries, and I support the public financing of campaigns. You know who stands in the way of a lot of that? Both parties. Both parties often fight us on some of those electoral reforms. Now, Democrats are far more willing to work towards it than Republicans are, but we've got to challenge our own sometimes as well. I understand the frustrations with Fetterman. I frankly don't follow enough of his day-to-day politics to make an explanation one way or another. What I can tell you is the values that I speak of, that the economy should work, government can do a little bit to improve our lives, and everyone's rights should be protected. Those are the guide points for how I'll serve as governor. And, you know, as I said to someone recently, I know some of the hard family conversations within the Democratic Party right now. My job isn't to referee conversations within the Democratic Party. My job is to get elected governor and to prove that as a Democratic governor, we can govern well and improve people's lives. And when we do that, we improve the Democratic Party.
Hi, Mr. Jolly. I just want to tell you one thing. When Ron DeSantis was elected the first time, I don't know where you were in your political, if you were still a Republican or an independent, but I had seen you speak several times. And at the end of that election, I sent an email to your office. Okay. I said, run for governor. I will vote for you.
Well, you convinced me.
Well, I'm sure it was just me that did that. But I just wanted to say, you're a good person. You care about the people. I believe in you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Listen, I'll share one thing with you just because, you know, I've been out of politics long enough to tell the truth. But I started telling the truth around then, so I get this call. And I understand, I think I'm under contract with MSNBC at the time. I left the party probably in summer of 18 because I remember I didn't want to do it after the election when I thought Democrats would do well, and then people would say, oh, he just did it because Democrats won. I wanted to do it on principle. But so going into that cycle, Ron DeSantis was running against Andrew Gillum. And despite what, you know, we later learned about Andrew Gillum, I was asked, hey, by the press, who'd you vote for? Or who are you voting for? And I remember saying, well, I typically don't acknowledge who I vote for because I'm under contract with TV and we're not supposed to talk about it, but I voted for Andrew Gillum. And they said, well, can you tell me why? I said, yes, because I served with Ron DeSantis. and it was the closing line of the Tampa Bay Times article on the election was Jolly's line. And then so I had this little radio show at the time. And it was this little AM radio show. I don't know if 10 people listened to it, but I think it ended at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I get and it's in this rural pasture, and I get in the car and I'm driving home, and I have MSNBC on the radio, and Obama's talking, but I'm not really paying attention. It's, you know, my mind's still in the radio show, and I heard Barack Obama say, and you know, this guy named David Jolly. And I thought, what did I just hear? And Obama actually used my line to say, you know, it's shameful that this guy named David Jolly would say he's not voting for Ron DeSantis, and the only reason he could cite is that he served with Ron DeSantis. But thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jolly, for running for governor, and I am definitely going to vote for you.
Thank you.
I actually told my wife about you from seeing you on, was it CNBC? MSNBC.
Right.
For years, and I'm glad that you're running.
Thank you.
And I will vote for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Hi. So I am a registered Republican.
Okay, good.
I have been on DeSantis's roundtable and in press conferences with DeSantis. How are you going to persuade other Republicans who are not happy with the way things are going, who have no faith in Donald's or Fishback or anybody currently running? How are you going to persuade us in the next 90 days to come over and vote with Republicans?
Yeah.
What is the plan for that? Because I have no faith in them whatsoever.
Yeah, thank you for that. Look, we're up against some historic odds in finances, right? We're not going to be able to turn the TV on without seeing a message from Byron Donalds. Unfortunately, we won't have the same amount of money. We'll have enough to get our message into the field. But I do think part of bringing Republicans over is to focus on what matters most in this moment. And we can do it with some Republican language, right? The economy should work for everybody. That's not a Democrat or Republican principle. That's an American principle. Government doing a little bit to improve our lives, yes, that's always happened. You know, it was Dwight D. Eisenhower who gave us the interstate highway system, creating economic mobility. It was Abraham Lincoln that gave us land-grant universities. It was Ronald Reagan who actually closed tax loopholes to fund health care. Right, there are certain it was George Bush 43 who introduced a pathway to legal status and work status for undocumented immigrants. There's some old school Republican principles here. And when I talk about ending the culture wars, sure, look, I have some personal opinions. I'm an advocate. Call me a libertarian attorney who wants to fight for everybody's rights and dignity. But let's just use the old school Republican language. The government should stay out of your life, stay out of your business, stay out of your bedroom. Look, there are ways to build this coalition that kind of keeps it between the 20s, if you will, on the shared values and says, we're not going to worry about what's outside of the 20s right now because in a moment of crisis, we know we got to reset the economy and defend people's personal rights. There's enough between Republicans, independents, and Democrats to do that. I'm hopeful.
All right, folks, I apologize. I've just been told by the Jolly campaign we only have time for one more question, and this gentleman's hand was the first one I saw come up on this side.
Thank you. Hi, David. My wife and I teach at Eustis Middle School, and she teaches ESE, I teach civics and history. We are on the front lines of a lot of ugly, and I appreciate your educational platform, but we're hurting with pay. We're last in pay. I gave up my planning period to install a speech and debate class for underprivileged kids. I've been offered positions at colleges out of state, schools out of state. Why should we stay? Because I'm passionate about the job, but we keep hearing from governors, we want to pay teachers more, but we always get the shaft. And I can't even send my own kids to college because, as you said, we can't save for more than 2 weeks. And our health care costs in Lake County just tripled. So, I mean, I had to pretty much give up my health care. My daughter has epilepsy. It's like we got divorced so we could go on Medicaid so my daughter could continue to get her epilepsy medicine. So for teachers who aren't in it for the money but need it, why should we stay?
Wow. Good question. First of all, thank you for that personal story. The question is, why should teachers stay if you can't afford to live in Florida and you're having to make dramatic life moves just to keep it all together? The two of you are exactly the reason why we need this state to get your back in a historic way. A historic way. I speak of values because of, as I shared, our policies are a reflection of who we are, a reflection of our values. I commend you that you've stayed this long, right? Being last in the nation in teacher pay is a recruitment and retention issue, but for the love and commitment you all provide, it's also why we're losing kids, because you're being asked to do the jobs that 3 people were doing 10 years ago. You're not being paid what you should be paid. And part of unleashing the finances behind a renaissance also is going to require working with some of the unions to make sure that some of the longer serving teachers are rewarded just as we're lifting up the entry-level pay. We're going to have to innovate both pay structures but also the platforms of learning for the future. Look, if politicians could turn things around in one day, the Ukraine war would be over, gas prices would be lower, food would have dropped, and so I don't want to be one of those politicians that promises you day one. But I will tell you the economic plan I've built behind public schools would allow us in year 1 to actually fund what I'm discussing. If we were to pass a 10-year renaissance using tourist development tax dollars, you immediately turn around and you bond that 10 years of funding into year 1 investments and changes, right? We don't have to wait 10 years to see the dramatic turnaround in education. Is it a year? Is it 24 months? Is it 36 months? Sure, let's be practical about what it would take. But if we can pass the funding mechanism, we can bond against the 10-year out years of revenue. I understand what you're facing. And the number of families that I think have decided it's just too much, it's growing. School-age populations are falling in the state of Florida. The attrition from public schools is not just about choice, it's because school-age families can't afford to live in Florida. This is a real issue. And look, part of me wants to beg you to stay. But I also know on a human level, you got to do what's right for you and your family and for your children. I commend you for staying this far. I commend the two of you for being a part of changing lives. And I hope to be a governor that can get your back and change things for you. So, hey, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we get a round of applause for Mr. David Jolly?